Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Hockenheimring here in Germany for the Formula 3.5 Championship. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Alessandro Dalladone, and we have Marco Barbonari in the production booth, and you're here watching Apex Racing TV.
Hi everybody, hi Austin. Nice to be back as usual in this beautiful evening meeting we have for the Formula Renault 3.5. New track, plenty of unknowns, but I think, Austin, we are set to have an amazing race because today we have such a nice strength of field and I expect amazing racing.
It is going to be a very amazing race here today. We have multiple giant things to talk about here today. The new #1 car, Manuel Domingo, in for Radicals Online, but also a big story. It's our strength of field. We're over 5,000 here today.
Absolutely, plenty of new drivers also joining us for this event, probably drawn by this new venue, and maybe already got a bit of racing a few weeks ago in the Dallara Euro 1. Plenty of regulars as per usual, and big shout out also especially to James Pincer, since he celebrating his 50th Apex Racing TV Formula 3.5 race. So best of luck to him especially. Hopefully he can get a nice qualifying and a nice race to celebrate.
Yeah, definitely a big accomplishment for him to appear in 50 of these top SLF races as we ride on board of Soon Boyd, heading down that long straight, heading into the hairpin. And this hairpin, I think lap 1 is going to be very, very interesting to see because it's such a tight entry. And these cars off the exit, you're going to have to be a bit careful with them not to put a little bit too much mustard on them, especially on lap 1.
Yeah, indeed. I did the previous race and I qualified in the middle of the pack, and after 5 minutes I was already out of the serve. It didn't really go well to me. I got hit a few times. I might have hit somebody, I don't know. But I can only tell you that Sean Coyd was blazing fast in qualifying. I don't know the results, but I wouldn't expect anything but someone able to fight Ben Fuller today here at Hockenheimring.
Ben Fuller has been looking on top of his game throughout the week, but I know he's fast across one lap, but, you know, some drivers say he's a one-lap machine, but when you can get a fight up to him, it shows a little bit of weaknesses here and there, so I believe that's what we might see from Robert Tarleton as he goes into second fastest, followed by Paul Ilbrink as he comes across the line. Ilbrink, first lap, puts him up. No, that is Manuel Domingo, not Paul Ilbrink. Paul Ilbrink is, well, he invalidated his first lap and invalidated his second lap right there. Unlucky streak continues for Paul Ilbrink. 2 off tracks, and we'll be starting at the very end of the field as Bishop goes way off track as well. This final sector is so tricky, especially with track limits. It's very forgiving.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. And I think it's a bit difficult here to get both laps invalidated, but maybe some drivers have been used to run it during the week 13 and the opening weeks where track limits weren't really a thing yet on this track. And still, with cold tires, I must say this car is very, very difficult to handle. Although then, with the high downforce package we've been used to here in the Formula Renault 3.5, gets a bit more easy. But still, in the opening laps, I expect plenty of drivers struggle a little bit with cold tires.
It certainly is going to be a bit of a tire work as well as Tarleton comes across the line. Is Tarleton going to take that top spot? Robert Tarleton, new pole sitter by 1/100th of a second.
Yeah, great lap by Robert, absolutely. We've seen Robert be really, really on top this start of the season, and he's looking even very, very fast today as Jason Enrique improves his lap time up into 8th place. we go back look at Paul Hilbrink trying to set a valid lap time in this
I do not believe he could, because he's already done 1 lap, and I believe he stopped at the end of that and he might try to get another lap in here today. We're going to see if this one counts. He needs to be very careful in this final sector, though.
I think it's not a valid lap time, though.
I do not believe so.
Just as he crosses the finish line.
It's not.
It's not. So it's pretty much qualifying wrapped up since Phil Reid, sorry, is not having a qualifying lap yet, but he's still on pit road, so no more time for him. And I'm kind of surprised to see him all the way back there. Hopefully he gets a better race than last week in Imola. Quite a frustrating race for him, but for sure looking forward to see him come through the field, although today, as we were saying, the field is pretty packed up with very, very fast drivers. Look at James, only 10th, Austin.
James Pinster, defending champion, celebrating his 50th SOF race here on Apex Racing TV, only in 10th. And this field is pretty much the who's who of iRacing open wheel racing, and oh man, it's gonna be a absolute slobber knocker here today at the Hockenheimring. And it's Robert Talton starting up on pole, followed by Ben Fuller, Soon Coyd, Kentaro Yusa, Edward Samborski, Jorge Lopez, Fabio De Carmo, Jason Enrique, Alfredo Malo, James Pinsker, Ben Bishop, Francesco Ramirez in 12th place. Behind them in 13th, it's Manuel Domingo, Rob Bohr, Juan Bustamante, Tom Wedgwood, Jamie Byrne, Andreas Ferraz-Lite, Paul Ilbrink, and Phil Reed at the end of this 20-car grid here in the Forest of Germany.
Absolutely incredible packed qualifying session. I expect nothing less than some very, very interesting fights. But Austin, as we always said, qualifying is very important, and if you lack a track position with such a packed field, it's very, very difficult to make up spots, because yes, we do have plenty of opportunities, plenty of straights to make a pass happen, but Dirty Air is gonna be very, very big in the arena section.
It certainly is. Turn 1 is a little bit of trickiness. I was in a few races with Everton Borski preseason, and we've had some hilarious incidents in turn 1. A lot of drivers might even just flat out turn 1 it to avoid anything happening behind him, of someone just getting a little bit too confident into the braking zone. But also turn 2, that's a tight braking zone. You could be seeing some drivers go into there, but that Samborski tried to race the IndyCar last night, underfueled his car by 1 lap, which was funny from me and Marco. But 5 red lights are on, and it's go, go, go here in the Hockenheimring. Robert Talton stalled it off the line. Ben Fuller takes the lead, and right behind Fuller, it's Coyd taking 2nd place. Samborski off in 3rd. He goes off the track as well. We got a big spin, and there's a Ferrari around, and that's Robert Talton.
Oh boy, we know he has a very good and very bad start, but this was probably the worst he had in a long time.
We thought the start, Curtis, was not going to happen again for Robert Tarleton, but he's using this clutch pedal start, which is extremely hard to get right as Ben Fuller defending onto the inside. Coyd looking around to the outside, side by side. Big moves onto the brake zone from both these drivers. Both of them use DRS to try to break away from each other, but it's Fuller, Coyd, Samborski. We got a big off right there, and that's De Carmo around. James J. Pinsker was involved in that as well, but I do not see any damage on the defending champion.
Yeah, this guy running still on the old...
Pinsker looking on the inside, hops around, gets spun around. Multiple cars off. Byrne and Talton are around.
I told you the first few laps might be very, very tricky with cold tires. Drivers trying to make up a lot of positions early on as Starton goes around the outside of Jamie Byrne. And also makes a pass on
Domingo's got a lot of damage. Look at that front wing on Domingo's car. Absolutely looks like a potato chip right there.
Yeah, definitely not the start he wanted. He will have to go back to pit road. He's number one of the room, almost 7,000 rating, and this is gonna be a big blow for him. As we look now at our race leader Ben Fuller defending P1 on this main stretch from Koide in the opening lap, and now already 8 tenths in front of him. DRS and the slipstream will definitely come into place. Remember, 8 DRS is available to the drivers to use wherever they want, whenever they want. So it's gonna be also a very tactical game.
Yeah, looking at Ben Bishop ahead of Jason Enrique and right behind Alfredo Malo. Let's ride on board with him as we come out of the hairpin. And I do believe we have a few new paints in the field from Tom Wedgwood. He liked the comments I gave to him about his paint last time by, and well, he wanted to show some appreciation. And oh yeah, that is one colorful beast.
Oh yeah, absolutely, I like it.
I love the pink accents on it.
Oh yeah, you just told me.
I believe he was listening to the broadcast last time and said, I need to add more magenta, and well, he did.
Yeah, he is gonna be our fan favorite now here.
Not biased.
No, absolutely not.
Paint-wise biased.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm kind of torn with Yusa because I have a thing for anime.
He is also giving us quite a nice treat here with this beautiful livery. But let's also keep an eye on the race instead of doing a great show of liveries tonight, which I must say I'm really impressed. Every week we spend a lot of time talking about them. Koide losing at the draft. Fuller has Bustamante makes a pass on Ducarmo.
Yeah, Ducarmo, not Jamie. Ducarmo getting overtaken. We got the 12 looking on the inside, defending from the Karuma of Lopez, and oh, he made the pass. He made the pass, not defending. It's very hard to tell sometimes when they're side by side heading into there.
Oh, we always jump from one battle to the other, so it's difficult to keep up with all the action. 26 laps, this race is gonna be long, but I bet we will not get bored. Look at these cars going through this very fast right-hander, and here getting very, very light with some banking. The car wants to go straight, and you see drivers locking up. Still early on, the car is still very hard to drive with cold tires, as we have our weekly check with our favorite helmet.
Absolutely happy face of Edward Samborski right behind Coyd. And Samborski, well, tried out IndyCar racing yesterday, which ended in a very interesting way.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know some. I know you were both involved in that, and you had plenty of fun. And someone overslept this morning, making his teammates not be able to run DRS, but that's a whole different story, as Tarko makes another pass on Phil Reed for 13th place.
I feel like even Marco has something to think.
Yes. Someone didn't show up.
Yeah, somebody else was choking at Rocket League as well a few hours ago.
We were preparing the broadcast, as Jorge Lopez Esposito lost a few positions in this start, but he's looking to make a pass on Enrique, but actually now, after going a bit wide there, has to defend from the other Spaniard, Francisco Ramirez. This car doesn't want to turn in this corner. It's very easy to go wide.
It's so hard to turn there. It's so hard to carry the speed through there because it's very tight two very tight right-handers, and the curbs on the inside just kill your car, so you want to try to bring it out as far as possible without going off the track here. And I was talking with Samborski about his throttle control through there, and he just goes, I'm guessing every time. But look at this run Ramirez has way up in the track, goes down to the inside as Lopez defending around the outside. Well, he can't even defend from that. He's all the way out there as Yusa and Malo side by side.
Malo manages to stay in front of Yusa and get P4 as Ramirez and Enrique and Lopez, are still side by side. And
nice position right there.
Manages to put his car into P8. Rob Bohr at the end of the top 10 in 10th place, looking to get both of them if he can.
Yeah, Bohr's got a nice view of this train ahead of him. A little bit of a lockup for one of the cars up earlier into this nice bank section here. And this arena part is very well designed here at Hockenheimring, especially for sports cars. But for these high-power Formula cars, gets a little bit tricky. And we got a slow. James J. Peter has a problem.
Yeah, definitely not how you want to celebrate your 50th race here on Epis Racing TV. Let's see what happened.
He's just Spinella'd right there.
Yes, he goes around and manages to go back on track fairly quickly now, trying to make up the spot he lost with Fabio Do Carmo, but unfortunately it's only a fight for 18th place. So look at the last three drivers in the standings, Do Carmo, Pinsker and Domingo. You would imagine it was like a top 3, considering they are both, all three, well above 6,000 rating.
Yeah, and the numbers 1 and 2 are in the bottom 2 spots. Well, now in the bottom 3 spots as Pinker makes the move on to Carmo, but 3 drivers in the top 10 at the bottom of this field. They're happily donating their iRating here today. Ben Fuller, the number 4 car, sits in the lead, but the car that I really wanted to shout out is Kentaro Yusa, 20th. Car number 20 in 5th.
And he lost also position in these opening laps, so his qualifying effort was really good, but he's very close to Alfredo Malo, so 4th place is still well within reach. But from Malo to pretty much Tom Wedgwood in 11th place, so from 4th to 11th you can see a whole train following the Spanish drivers, so they are still very close together. You have a big gap from Samborski to Malo, but all those drivers are very close. As Starton makes a pass on Paul Hilbrink with the DRS and gets the inside at the hairpin.
Charlton's definitely not holding back anything here today after that unfortunate start. Going to be trying to carry it throughout the race. This Marco, I believe, is suffering from just the worst fit of coughing I've ever heard in my life. As
we are now to lap 7, we have some issues for Jamie Byrne.
Oof. Looks like too much mustard right there in the Mercedes complex.
And this track is very slick. It's very easy to lose the rear end, especially in this mid-section.
The track state is looking fairly worn, so that's actually lowered the grip for these guys significantly, as Samborski has explained to me with the track state. So you're going to be seeing some of these guys avoid the racing line every here and there to gain more grip. With the temperature 19 degrees Celsius, so very cold air, but the track state's making this track a little bit slippy for these cars.
Indeed, absolutely. It's gonna be very interesting to see also towards the end, as Domingo has even more trouble.
He's not having a good day, is he?
Oh yeah, definitely. I bet he wishes already the race was over. He wants to keep going because obviously for him losing that rating would be not ideal. But
his rear end is all over the place right now.
Yeah, that corner is very, very difficult, Austin. You have to do in second, and as soon as you put the throttle down, it's very easy to lose the backhand. If you do in third, you don't actually have enough power.
If you're in third, you're going to be throwing all the anchors away. You feel like you're driving a Formula Renault 2.0.
Indeed, so you have to really be very good on throttle in that corner to make sure you don't make mistakes, as we have I think one Bustamante, the Argentinian driver, having trouble dropping down the timing tower.
Bustamante's off. He's all the way down in 19th place. What's happening to Bustamante? Oh no, he's he's beached. No way. Bustamante beached on the curb.
How did he get there though? Let's see.
I think it involves a unfortunate Binotto call. So he rides on the curb and gets flung out into the gravel, and then tries to get back on track, but the banking is too much, and he's beached on the curb.
Yeah, look at those tires not touching the ground.
Oh, no.
As we have Koide defending from...
Koi's going wide. Samborski's on the inside, but Koi's not on the inside right now. Who's going to get onto the throttle a little bit more and avoid that curb onto the inside? Koid, Samborski, side by side, racing heading into the arena section. And Koi's just going to sneak past the inside. Samborski let him by, but Samborski gets the pressure on a little bit of locking for Koid. And Samborski trying to get the nose down in the run. It's not going to happen. Koid sits ahead of Samborski, but they're nose to tail, nose to gearbox right now with each other as they go through that final sector.
Yeah, Koid seemed to be a bit too hot in that corner, and also the last lap already had some trouble, as Samborski makes a mistake here in the opening corner and loses some time. He will probably get closer to the Japanese driver on the stretch here, but still won't be close enough to try to make a pass happen. And this is coming very in handy to our race leader Ben Fuller, that now has opened a gap of almost 3.5 seconds, and also to Alfredo Maggio in fourth place, who is getting closer and closer to the couple in second and third place.
They are getting closer and closer with each other. As long as they keep battling, we might have a three-car fight with Malo joining in on the back of Samborski. But, you know, I think we're about to see a massive train here. Some might say a bullet train, as this battle might continue. Just look how many cars are behind them if this stays up. Malo getting a tire second last time by from these two, just going at it.
Yeah, it's very, very important for them to try to avoid let all these drivers behind close up, because you don't want to fight people in front and the drivers also behind you. For Samborski, maybe Koide can actually get a little bit of a rest, because the American driver might have to defend more than attack actually. But it's gonna be very interesting. We are already coming towards halfway, and we're starting to see some drivers get more comfortable with the car. Drivers coming through the field quite fast. I expect Austin to see Robert Harton make up a few spots in the second part of the race, as Ramirez tries to make a pass on Enrique, takes the inside, but he will have the outside at the hairpin. He looks to be clear, but he goes for the...
Oh, that's deep! Oh, we got beached on the curve. That held him up off the exit right there. And oh, Tarleton's around! Robert Tarleton and Tom Wedgwood make contact! And they are around in the background.
We'll have a replay after we see the end of this great fight with Ramirez making the pass on Enrique, but now also Jorge Lopez will try to make his car wide and get the inside. And
oh, look at Lopez and Enrique side by side and battling as hard as they can through the arena section. Enrique holding it on the bottom. Lopez around the outside, and Lopez makes it work.
Great pass by Jorge Lopez. Let's check the replay of what happened at the hairpin between Tarleton and Wedgwood. Tarleton was clear.
He was looking to defend on the inside, but then he gets a little bit of a bump, and around he goes, and Wedgwood parks the car, and then Phil Reed almost goes into them, going wide. And I can't believe that Phil Reed probably is not feeling at all lucky today, because that looked almost identical to what happened to him in Imola. He's just got caught out wide by 2 cars right there, and he had to get onto the binders and pray that no contact was made. And here's Samborski on Coyd. Coyd defending on the inside. Samborski looking around the outside. Samborski's made the move around the outside. He could get him off the exit right here. And, oh, look at the speed that he had. But it's not enough as he's still on the gearbox of Coyd.
And this guy is going at it for a long time as Paul Hilbrink goes a bit wide. But multiple drivers have already taken that alternative route today. You don't really lose much time, you just need to be careful putting the power down on the dusty part of the track as we finish lap 12 and Coyd is still half a second in front on Samborski, but it's gonna be interesting to see how many DRSs these drivers have been using so far, because we are on the
toss
and it might be decided.
Really I really wish iRacing adds the DRS counters soon, like they did. I know they gave us data for push to pass, but you know the DRS uses within this is also a very useful stat to know at times, so we aren't, you know, guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very hard for us to keep a track of that. Hopefully sometime soon we will get some more information for us broadcasters. But for the time being, let's appreciate all these great fights as Pinsker makes a move on Ferraz later, but the German driver will try to come around the outside and defend his position here in home ground.
Oh, Ferraz too fast for you, trying to hold around the outside of the defending world champion. Pinsker gets onto the curbing, and he is unfortunately not fast enough for the too fast for you, Andreas Ferraz-Lichte. That's a nice thing to have on the wing. Too bad James can't see it.
Indeed. But anyway, great fight between these two drivers.
Ooh, and off the track is Rob Board. That's in turn 1.
Might have flipped the treacherous curve on the inside. Let's see the replay. We are with Tarleton.
And Boar's right ahead. Oh, Tarleton. Oh, Tarleton.
With a mega save.
Samborski caught up again. Bishop's in the wall. Bishop's got front wing damage.
And this looks like a matter
Coyd
of
goes
master.
wide. Coyd and Samborski. Coyd forced onto the curb. And Samborski sneaks one away. And up into second place.
Look at Malodo in fourth place. Caught up to them. We might have a three-way battle in the second half of the race. As we look at Boer. Yeah, tip that inside.
Too much curb. Oh, the curb popped up his rear end, upset the car. He keeps it away from the wall, but oh, that is so unfortunate for Rob right there.
Absolutely. It happened to many of us drivers here during the week. Sometimes you just need to do like Sean Coyd just did and just let it slide wide and keep it safe, as now the Japanese driver will try to get back that second position. But what a great race
Malo, the number 12 car, very nicely done. Up 5 spots and trying to get up onto that podium here in iRacing's newest track. And I gotta say, this track is probably the most prestigious track for this car, as pretty much all the Formula Renault 3.5 was designed to race on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very nice addition to the iRacing service, and plenty of interesting tracks to come soon. We don't know when, but soon. So
Hashtag soon. Instant clock there. Marco, you have that on call, right? You have that clock image on call? That PNG? No? We'll have that next time, or soon.
will for sure be very interesting to see these cars on some of the famous European tracks that will be coming in a few months' time. As Samborski sets the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:24.303. 3.0. So definitely showing the great pace, but unfortunately it's a bit late to try to go for a move for P1, since Ben Fuller is now more than 4.5 seconds ahead, and after an interesting first lap managed to open up a very comfortable gap so far.
It's about 20 seconds to Domingo, who is almost a lap down to Ben Fuller. So I feel like that's Sam Borsi's goal. Try to chop down as much time he can get to him, and then just probably hope that Domingo has gives Fuller some very bad dirty air and makes Fuller have a mistake. Because once you're in the lead here, you could be running a much lower downforce car and just start pulling away from everybody else, especially if you know that you have that start unlocked.
Yeah, for sure. It's I think this is one of the tracks where you can work a bit with different aero packages, even though most of the time you always run the higher downforce setting, but with the
front wing is you can manage that a lot. It will help you in the straight line, but in the corners, as we're seeing, Sam Borski is that is exactly the same time as he ran last lap.
Oh yeah, that's called consistency. Boer is
Rob Boer's had another incident as well. Boer's off, he's down to 18th. Boer's off of the final sector, and he's pulling a Lewis Hamilton, cutting across the commitment cone and into the pit lane.
Let's see what happened to Rob Boer after we look at the replay from B Shop. We saw him
It's not raining here, right? Because we're seeing a lot of drivers go off right here.
It's
looking very familiar to the F1 Grand Prix here, and that's
indeed.
That is exactly what Lewis Hamilton did.
That's exactly what happened in the F1 race last season.
Charlton sneaking on the inside of Phil Reed. He can't tell where he is. Oh no! Coin!
Did affect it.
This is what is happening here. Coin's in the wall.
Let's catch a replay when we can about that, because this is a defining moment of the race. He's far from Samborski, so it might have been a driver mistake. He goes on the grass.
Oh, got into the gravel and just onto the grass right here, into the gravel once more, and pretty much just like Sebastian Vettel, straight into the tire beer, and that's front wing damage. Managed to keep the car working, and he's not throwing the steering wheel out there, so he's still in the race, but he's going to be struggling a lot with that damaged front wing. Very unfortunate for Coyd.
We have another replay with Fabio Docarmo with his front wing
that is
damaged.
A dive by the 19, but yeah, Fabio's wing is very chipped up, bent, and damaged.
Quite a few hectic moments, Austin, in these last few minutes. We had quite a lot. I think
use an understatement. This is a lot. I know last week I had a very unfortunate mispronunciation of calling this the Hockenheimring, but it looks like a hockey rink right now with the amount of cars hitting walls and just getting hip checked by curbs.
This track is definitely very, very slick, and drivers have been struggling quite a lot, even though these are one of the best drivers in the business when it's about
struggling so much understeer right there. It might not be a lot of damage. You can still be driving you can still drive this car around pretty quickly. Last lap 1:24.7, which is miles ahead of anything I could do, but then again, I'm not Coyd. Just showing on how fast these guys are. He's still putting down monster lap times, but it will be hurting him throughout the race.
For sure, and he's really lucky that the car is still pretty much in one piece. Thankfully, the new damage model hasn't made his way yet to the Forma 3.5.
Oh, look at this Enrique. Big dive, but unfortunately can't complete it as he goes miles off, almost onto the old circuit, as Lopez has his nose ahead as they go into the kink and up in front of the Mercedes grandstand. Is Enrique going to go look for a dive right here? He is not into that 90-degree corner. And that little bend, there's a bump on that apex right there, and it's so tricky as we saw Lopez's car have a little bit of a dance as he got back on throttle right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That middle section is very, very complicated. You can gain a lot of time, but if you get it wrong, you can lose even more. It's a matter of being balanced and not risk too much, or at least risk only when it's only necessary to do that, to make a pass work in the last few laps, as Samborski sets a new fastest lap of the race, 1:24.12. So
yeah, 1:24.12.
Absolutely.
And that's 3/10 faster than Ben Fuller. And Fuller is right behind Rob Board. And I think he's just lapped Board right now.
This is absolutely amazing to see how fast Samborski is, but unfortunately he started a little bit behind in 5th place as Ramirez is defending from Suikoide. That doesn't seem to be slowing much down from that accident. He's charging his way through the field now, looking to get a top 5 back.
It's those left-handers that are hurting Coyd with that front wing damage on that right wing. He needs that downforce right there, but the car's not turning him. It's a bit unbalanced. He's got a lot more drag on that right-hand side, so in those left-handers, he's going to be struggling to get that car around. So right here, he's thankful that the banking's right there, but in corners like these, it's just going to be hurting him.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. It's gonna be quite difficult for the Japanese driver to make that spot as we are entering lap 21. We are looking also here from these beautiful graphics on your bottom right corner, the gaps between Fuller and Samborski. It's pretty much stable, but you can see sometimes going down in favor of Samborski, but this graph
means nothing.
means actually nothing this time, but most of the time is actually giving us
sometimes it would show them like going down, going up, but it stayed still. It's actually stayed still.
Than Amazon Web Services.
Oh, speaking of Amazon Web Services, we were joking about Austin Web Services graphics for this race. I do not have any useless facts for y'all.
In the meantime, Austin, let me give a big shout out to a few of our sponsors, and for you guys also watching the broadcast, if you want to get a bit closer to the world of Formula Renault 3.5, you can also use our own Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, also Formula Renault 3.5 done by our own Peter Berryman. Track guides, wiki group coaching sessions, whatever you might need, go check them out at apexracingac.com, and also remember that it's integrated with the virtual racing school to improve your on-track performance in also oval and dirt racing with data analysis software, one-on-one coaching, and 50 plus data packs, so you can find actually everything on the same page. Make sure to Google them.
Yeah, and I gotta say, if you think that, oh, data packs, these top drivers, oh my goodness, Henrique looking for a big move down there, gets onto the power very early, but Lopez around to the outside has got a lot of speed. We're gonna have a little bit of a drag race in the reverse drag format, but there is a drag strip here, and it looks like these two belong on it right now. Wheel-to-wheel racing in front of Mercedes grandstand. Henrique holding around to the outside. Jason Henrique up into 7th place. But yeah, you might think that some of these drivers do not use these data packs. They're already the best in the world right there. I can tell you, Edward Samborski is subscribed to the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3.5 data pack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good start for your week. If you want to tweak your setups, you can get started, or even just do like some of the people in the iRacing do, just pick the setup and just drive like I usually do, because I have no idea what to touch and what to tweak to make me go faster, because usually I crash, so it doesn't change much.
And I do exactly the same as Alessandro, but I finish my races.
As we are now...
Ooh, Painter's had a big off right here.
Yeah. Not the festivities he was looking for today, as we had a big slide.
Very unfortunate for James.
His race definitely not going well. But
and Paul gets touched by numbers of Robert Tarleton. And Tarleton's in the pits.
He's stuck on the curve. He's stuck on
Tarleton's beached as well. No way.
What did the track workers do to these mighty curves?
Oh no! Lalo's in the wall. And that promotes Usta into third. Ben Fuller, 124 flat, but what's happened to Alfredo Malo? It looks identical to what's happened here with Coyd. Too much mustard through the bank section and then just slaps the wall. And that's a lot of damage for him, and he's out. So many cars having incidents right here. Yusa on the podium currently with just about 3 laps to go. He's got Ramirez behind him though.
Fastest lap for our leader Ben Fuller, 124 flat, so showing the speed he had, using those DRSs later now in the race to get some extra speed. As we look at Yusa now in 3rd place, he has been very quiet, he hasn't been very aggressive in this race and only managed to move up because of mistakes, but that's how you sometimes win racing, win championship, or get some solid points. And the Japanese driver today, after getting a nice solid quali run in 4th place, is now back on the podium in front of Ramirez and his fellow countryman Coyd in 5th.
Ilbrink and Reed side by side, 2 drivers who did not have a good race last time by. Ilbrink onto the inside of Phil Reed for 10th place.
Yeah, amazing battles everywhere in the field. Oh boy, yeah.
2 laps go, 1:23.898 for Ed Samborski. But look at these 2 drivers swapping noses, swapping spots, swapping lines in this fight for 10th.
Very hard to keep up with all the action here. We knew that this track would really suit this car, and we were all looking forward to this broadcast, as Yusa now has to defend from Ramirez. His 3rd place is still at risk. He needs to be very careful, very precise, not make any single mistake, because this backstretch, Austin, might give the Spanish driver the chance to attack next lap if he's close enough. As
Phil Reed and Ilbrink. Oh, Ilbrink let off the brakes early. That's going to be giving him a better run off this exit, but I don't think that was the right choice as we go back to our fight for 3rd place. And, oh, white flag in the air. Yusa, Ramirez battling out for 3rd. Ben Fuller, 4.3 seconds in the lead. He just needs 1 more clean lap left. Ever Samborski pulling out all the stops right now, not holding anything back. 4/10 faster than Fuller this lap as Yusa and Ramirez continue to fight. Phil Reed and Ilbrink. Big fight right here, and the impressive part, Phil Reed is racing on controller.
Yeah, that's absolutely remarkable how fast he is using a controller, with a controller that is very, very cheap compared to some of the rigs of the system these drivers are using against him in this series. Absolutely amazing to see him be so fast and consistent. And he's racing very, very clean today. Also, Paul gave him plenty of space. Very fair battle between them. But let's keep an eye to the timing tower and also the other battles on track as Ramirez and Yusa side by side.
Ramirez round the outside of Yusa, and in the final lap, Ramirez gets his nose ahead of Yusa, but Yusa is not going to be letting that one go much easy. Yusa trying to gain some magic spell, looking down to the inside. Much thanks to the witch on the side of his car, as Ben Fuller takes the win here in the first race of the Formula 3.5 series at the Hockenheimring. Samborski comes on in second. Ramirez with a spectacular last lap pass, just has one corner to go, and he makes it happen. Ramirez takes third place. What a race he's had. 9 spots gained.
Enrique Lopez on the finish line, at the finish line now. Ben Bishop with 8 must be very, very happy about his performance tonight as we look at the battle between Andres Ferraleite and Jamie Byrne for 13th place, but it seems to be a bit difficult for Byrne to make anything happen in this section. There's not much he can do but to follow and take the car home in 14th place. What a race, Austin, today. There's been an absolutely
insane race. Absolutely incredible race, as we got a few replays for us right now, but I feel like it's just some glory shots of Ben Fuller and Edward Samborski, who both these drivers did no wrong here today. What a dominating performance by both of them to just, well, pull away from the rest of the field and just have their own little lap time battle race. If this was a fastest lap race like Extreme E qualifying, Samborski would have got that. But Ben Fuller, consistency and just head down. What a start he had.
Absolutely amazing race. Very, very impressive driving by all the drivers. As we have the final race results for this week round of the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship from Hockenheim, Germany. Ben Fuller is our race winner. What a incredible drive. He missed on the pole position, but still he did an amazing job. Super consistent lap times in front of Edward Samborski in second place, 4 seconds behind, and in third place with a sensational last lap pass. Francisco Ramirez brings home the car on the podium. Kentaro Yusa is in 4th place in front of the other Japanese driver. Today only 2 drivers. We miss Aburame, unfortunately, Austin today. In 5th place, Shun Koide. 6th, Jason Enrique, Jorge Lopez, Ben Bishop, Tom Wedgwood and Phil Reed to round up the top 10. 11th place for Paul Hilbrink after a very bad qualifying effort, and 12th place for James Pinsker, who manages to salvage something out of this race after multiple incidents. 13th place for Andres Ferraleite, Jamie Byrne 14th place, Fabio Do Carmo, Manuel Domingo, who is definitely looking back at the race with a bit of sadness, unfortunately for him. 16th place finish. Rob Bohr is 1 lap down, 3 laps down. Alfredo Malo is our first of the drivers that did not finish. Rob Tarton in 19th, Juan Bustamante in 20th and last place.
Yeah, what a race we had here. It was just absolutely crazy, but you know, one driver has to come out on top, and that is Ben Fuller. Ben, you witnessed that race take off from the very start. You started in 2nd place right beside Robert Tarleton, and after turn 1, it was just yours for the taking. And well, it looked a little bit tight between you and Coyd for the first few laps. Walk us through that fight.
Ah, man, what a phenomenal race. Finally a race I can be proud of, you know. I've had my ups and downs in this series past 5 or 6 weeks, and yeah, I mean, it seems like when the SOFs get greater, I guess not always. So Monza was a little bit of a mess up, but Today there was a lot of pressure. 5.1 KSOF, and the top guys were absolutely blazing today. I mean, I clearly didn't have the race pace or the quality pace. I didn't feel like I really had the full package this week, but man, the consistency was just absolutely clinical. I mean, looking at the lap charts, it doesn't look real. I mean, the kind of pace that I was able to maintain consistently lap after lap was really positive. So yeah, I mean, quality didn't go amazing. I felt like the first lap I put in was really nice, a 0.0. Tarleton took it by 0.019, I believe. That was okay. I figured I probably would be able to battle in the race. And I knew I was going to have a fight with Sayun, and that's kind of what we got. You know, I mean, Tarleton kind of messed up the start there. I told him in one of the discords that we're in that our method doesn't really work super well this week, and it seems like he found out the hard way. So
Yeah, the slick
it's a
track.
tough one for that.
The slick track is very hard on the clutch start.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to change it up a little bit. A couple different percentages here and there, and it really wasn't super optimal this week, but it was definitely a little bit better than the brake throttle. But yeah, we'll see. I don't really know what caused that, but tough one to say. But yeah, I mean, I was really happy with the battling behind. I knew that Sayun and Edward were gonna battle out for a long time. You know, the draft around here is really strong. It's difficult to break away because you've only got 2 quick corners. So yeah, they just kind of battled it out, and you know, just kind of drove away. But I figured I was gonna have a race at the end because Edward was really quick. So I was happy to keep the consistency the whole way through.
Well, we end our European journey. We head over to America for the start of the American League as we have 3 races back to back over there at Road America. How are you feeling about that race? And before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I love Road America. One of my favorite tracks for sure. I think it can be difficult if it goes to a medium downforce track, but definitely going to just have to adjust and see what we can do. But yeah, big thanks to Michael, always allowing me to drive it my best every single week. So big thanks to the team at TQE and Michael for making the sets. I didn't feel like it was head and shoulders beyond anything else this week, but clearly it was very good. So I'm very thankful for that. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben, for showing up. Congrats on the win. You have yourself a great night, and we'll see you next week. As joining Alessandro is Edward Samborski.
Yeah, indeed. Eddie, another incredible pace race today. You had a very good start, make up a few positions, but unfortunately, that fight with Seun costed you the chance to fight for the win because the pace was there to keep up with Ben this week.
You 100% nailed it absolutely perfectly. I don't know what happened to me in qualifying. I felt not so fast. I don't know. I must have did something wrong, or I don't know. I just didn't hook a lap together, so I knew I had a chance. But when you're at a track that's this close, this competitive with drivers that are all, effectively on the same skill level, you just can't do that kind of thing. And the start, I lucked out because that was +3 almost immediately before turn 2. So, I mean, all things considered, it went ideal, and I did not want to have another incident with, not coding someone or something. So I was trying to be very careful, but unfortunately, there is no great time to pass and keep your speed up at the same time. So it's a catch-22. I waited as long as I thought I could and tried to get the move done, but it just didn't matter. Ben had too much of a gap.
Yeah, absolutely. But the battle with Seun was absolutely amazing. You've been fighting for most of the race, and unfortunately, Seun made a mistake that cost him eventually also the podium. But that was absolutely beautiful to see.
It's a real shame he made that mistake. I kept glancing down at the relative, and I saw I had a big gap. And then I saw the name was different, but I don't know what happened. Did he run wide, get hit or something? But it's a real shame for him because he drove well, qualified well. He absolutely deserved it. So I'd say it's on the horizon for him.
Absolutely, we are really happy to see plenty of new faces making their way up into the top 5. And before we let you go, Eddie, anyone you would like to thank?
I've got to thank Ted this week because I was complaining about how I couldn't do a certain thing with the setup. An hour later, Ted's like, just drive this. And you know what? All of a sudden, I was happy. So thank you, Ted. He's a team member, if people don't know.
Absolutely. Thanks to Ted then, and Eddie, looking forward to see you next week back in the US.
Yeah, it should be fun. That's going to be a wild one because the whole top 10 is going to be the exact same speed, I would figure, with the huge draft. So, yeah, grab your popcorn for that one.
Oh, but we do. It's gonna be wild. Austin, I think we have one more interview, a little quick chat, I think, with James to celebrate his 50th race on Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, I feel like James might feel like Mercedes AMG Petronas right now. Whenever they race at Hockenheimring and anyone celebrating something special, something always goes bad, and I think James has had everything go bad here today. James, how you feeling? And do you want to curse this track and never race here again?
Well, yeah. So yes, for driving this series on Apex Racing TV since 19S4, I've accrued. I counted it just before this week for some reason, and I've done 49. So yeah, this was my 50th appearance on the Apex Racing TV 3.5 broadcast, and probably my worst of the 50. I think that might be fair to say. I think I spun 4 times. I think all of them were my mistakes as well. I was struggling just driving this track. I think I got to a decent pace by the end, like maybe 2 or 3 tenths slower than Ben by the end of the race when I kind of got into it and warmed up. But yeah, not my day today. So many stupid things that I did. The thing I did on lap 1 as well. I think that on lap 1 I kind of missed my braking marker, really tight to the inside of a corner. Tried to stay out of the way and then spun off the curb, and I think that compromised 2 people's front wings, to whom I apologise because that was pretty much my mistake. And yeah, I mean, it was a fun race, and it's a fun track, and it's a fun combination. But just didn't go my way in this race, I suppose.
Well, thankfully, iRacing does have a drop week, so this might be one of those drop weeks for you, which might confuse all of us at the end of this season if we have a repeat of what happened last season.
Yeah, if we're doing the maths like we did in the finale, where it's like, oh, 1 point here, 1 point there, all the drop weeks. I don't think we're going to repeat that though, because it looks like Ben Fuller and Robert are going to try and do the full season, and I'm not sure I can compete with them with my current pace and predicament. But we'll see. But yeah, I mean, this is a race to forget. When I look back at the end of the season, I hope this is a drop week. Frankly, finishing 12th. I hope that's a drop week. If it's not, then something's gone very wrong, like the race did today. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun race, fun car, just too fraught with errors. And yeah, what else to say?
Well, before we let you go and get ready for Road America or down this week and just completely try to forget it, anyone you want to thank?
I'd like to thank Apex, since, the 50th time, not the best of the 50, for sure, but the 50th time on one of these, thanks to Apex Racing TV. Thanks to... Normally I think if someone races me, I don't think I had a great battle with anyone particularly today. I either flew past them or spun every time I battled someone. So I don't think there's anyone to thank on that. I don't know. Is that a thank? I mean, just Apex Racing TV, I guess. And Austin, you've been commentating 49 of the 50 of the races I've done?
Yeah, one of those races I had my jaw wired shut.
Yeah, and that was the best of the 50, the one you had.
Yes, it was. And unfortunately, my mouth just decided to say, hey, we're not going to work this week.
Yeah, that's a shame. That was a shame. But, hey, I won the championship. That's all that matters, right? This season doesn't count. The only season that counted was last one. Ignore this one.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, James. You have yourself a great night. Alessandro, any closing comments?
Well, I think that this race was absolutely great beauty. I really don't know what to say after such a race, Austin, because I really hope next week with Road America is gonna be even more interesting because we might see different setups going on there, different ideas. It's gonna be for sure very, very, very nice, and I'm already looking forward because every week, Saturday night European or afternoon in the US, it's always Formula Renault Triple Fight. This is one of the best races you can ever find in on open wheelers for sure.
It certainly is, and I gotta say, this SOF is just absolutely fantastic. 5,000, and already one of the most competitive cars on iRacing. This was a absolutely stacked race, and this season is just getting started. And I can't wait for the rest of the season. Thank you everybody for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for the Formula 3.5 Championship. I've been joined by Alessandro Dalladone with Marco Barbonera in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.